and we're gonna crack on with the presentation anyway. If I see anyone trying to get into the call, I guess somehow I will have a notification on Zoom. So I hope you are all well. I know that there is not many of us today. I did have ladies texting me saying that they couldn't make it. I thought this time was going to be better. I think still is. It's just that people, this is still all over the place when it comes to yeah, kind of organizing the week, and not everyone is actually on a lockdown. I mean, we are all on a lockdown, but some people are still going to work. So this lockdown, it just seems to be like weird to me. But for those of us who are staying at home, so I wanted to touch bases on home training. And it's really nice that I have you girls, Jana and Nicola, here, because both of you have experienced how the benefits or the results of training from home, and actually noticing that is not, I mean, although we love the gym, I'm talking for myself and Nicola. Jana loves her home gym, and I would love that if I was her as well, because it's amazing. But what I'm trying to say, or the point that I'm trying to make across, is that I do hear a lot of people complaining that home training is not the best, or it's not the best, or it's not the same as if it was a gym training. And I do 100% agree that it's like not the same, because there is a reason why we have gyms, and there is a reason why they call gyms. And some people like myself, who are not intimidated by the people who go to the gyms, because we've been in the gym environment for many years, we like to go to the gyms because of the machinery that they have, or the special equipment that we might not have at home. But if we are realistic, we can do at home a lot of the stuff that we can do at the gym. So I just wanted to touch on bases with regards to strength training. So strength training is also calling resistance training, and it's basically working against a resistance to against the gravity. And there are 4 ways of strength training. Will be body weight for people who's only just starting to do strength training. We have free weights like dumbbells and barbells or kettlebells. We have resistance bands, and then we have resistance machines, which will be more likely the ones that we wouldn't have at home. So if we look from these four options of training, strength training, we can see that we can actually, 3 out of them, we can easily get them done at home. The only thing we need, obviously, is our own body. We need some weights if we are advanced, and then obviously some resistance. And along with the free weights and the resistance bands, we can play around and make a really good session, and make it equally challenging as if you were at the gym. Now, this obviously depends on the, as I said, the level of a strength training that you are at on, and also depending on how much time you have available. Then we will be kind of looking more into the minutities of how long you want the home training session to be. I genuinely believe that for a home session to be efficient, it should be minimum half an hour, or for any session to be at least, how do you say, that the value, that the effort is actually I forgot the word, but basically any training, any session training that is shorter than 30 minutes, unless it's an active recovery walk, or unless it's mobility and yoga, and it's something that you're doing on top of your strength training, for that session to be called strength training, we definitely need to spend at least 30 minutes, and that will be at the very beginning. And obviously, as the body gets used to take more volume and intensity, we will obviously then increase the length of the session, and then it becomes really personal on how long you want the session to be. But there are many factors that obviously, as any in any matters or in any file or field, we need to consider, such as how is your recovery, how are you managing your stress, how is your sleep, and all of that before. And also how is your fitness age, because there is not it's not the same when people say I have been training all my life, because these people, although they think they have been training all their life, they might not have been aware of how they have been training, and they might have had been following classes and maybe not being very good at getting guidance as to how strength training should be. So that's why when I get a new client, I go very deep into the questionnaires to find out that kind of fitness age. And fitness age is what I call how mature you are into weight training, and is what it will make the difference between what I plan for someone who's only starting, like sorry, I was just reading the questions. Like a client that I just got in this week, Jael. She has been always into training, like swimming and into sports when she was at school, but she has never done any type of a strength training. So when we're working with someone like that, or if you are someone that is just getting into strength training, and sorry girls, this call I'm actually gonna post it on the free Facebook group that I created to kind of support people during this second lockdown. So that's why I'm gonna be talking more general, because people in that chat don't know who you girls are. That's why I also just keep my camera on the screen, so you don't have to appear in anyone's in other group if you don't want to. Okay, good with that? I hope we are all good, because I can't see any of you at the moment. So that's why I'm going to be a little bit more general. So if you are only starting to do strength training, you don't need to be worried about, oh my God, what equipment I need to get. Is going to be like overwhelm yourself with first thing thinking on what stuff you need to buy in order to do home training, because we can just start with body weight and then slowly increase the intensity with either resistance bands, free weights, and the combination of both as you progress within your program. And that means that we can wait. So the only thing that you need to start home training is literally your body, the full aptitude, and get the momentum going. If we go back and if we talk about the benefits of strength training, not at home, just what are the benefits of a strength training? We all know that there are bunch a number of benefits to strength training, but within those, and this I have taken it from a valid source, which is WebMed, which is the benefits are building lean muscle mass, reduce body fats by obviously building lean muscle, which is what people don't get sometimes. That is really easy to confuse losing body weight with losing body fat. So we know that when we lose body fat, ideally our body weight shouldn't fluctuate that much, because ideally we should be replacing that fat for lean muscle, and that's what we call body composition. So a better body composition is gonna result on a lower body fat and more lean muscle mass. Then obviously will be the burning calorie factor. When we do strength training, it has been proven that obviously because the effort applied is greater than when you go for a run or when you go for a jog, then you actually end up burning more calories. Now, I'm gonna stop in here and make up brackets because there is always this kind of battle between, I'm just trying to, oh no, sorry, let's just go back to, this is what I was. Apologies for that. There is always this battle between, should I be doing more cardio training? Should I be doing more strength training? And I just want to make clear in here that they are both equally important and they are both ideally needed to be done within your training program. However, this is something that people don't understand. When we do strength training, because we are going through a minimum, as I say, half an hour would be the least, but minimum 45 minutes. And normally is anything from an hour to an hour and a half, in which our heart rate is going up and down, up and down, up and down through the sets. You are actually training your cardiovascular endurance at the same time that you're training your muscle strength endurance. So when you go for a long run, for example, an hour run, as in opposition to what I just explained, yes, of course, you work on the strength of your leg muscles, core, and your arms. There is an element of strength in there, but the main factor that you are training when you go for running or when you go for cardiovascular or aerobics, stuff like that, will be more your cardiovascular endurance and obviously your cardiovascular health, which is equally important. But I just wanted to highlight that during the strength training, you actually do both. So that's why sometimes, especially on single leg exercises, you can feel, for example, Nicola was just saying on the training session I got her doing today, I got her finishing with 2 to 3 sets of Bulgarian split squats until fatigue, which means that you just keep going until you literally cannot go anymore. And if I was gonna take her heart rate at that point of finishing the set, I guarantee that her heart rate has never been that high, not even on a heat session that she does on Saturdays. So that's what people ignore a lot when it comes to a strength, and they try to just put a strength into one box and then cardiovascular work into another box, and then flexibility training into another box, which is something else that I wanted to add. And we have it here when it says that it boosts flexibility and improve the range of motion. So many people, because we have the belief from early days of strength training or from even any type of training, we've been told to stretch at the beginning and at the end of every session. And yes, I do support people to stretch if that's gonna help release some maybe tightness, or if it's gonna help release any sort of pain, or at the same time, if it's gonna aid the recovery process. But in reality, when you do strength training properly, not like a bodybuilding style, because bodybuilding style sometimes they focus on a very little range of motion just to get very specific into, let's say they want to get a bigger belly biceps, so they will focus on repetition being shorter, so there is constant tension on the bicep, and therefore the bicep will grow bigger. But when we take the bicep through the whole active range of motion, and when I say active range of motion, it means that we're not going to that place in which the bicep is not working anymore, because from that place to here, then the bicep is not working. It's actually your joints, the ones that are working. We don't want to get there. So we want to make sure that we are doing the full range of motion while still keeping the muscle active. But what I was saying with that is, as you go through the whole range of motion, you notice, and you can do it, the same movement that I'm doing myself, and you can notice how your muscle goes from the longest version of the muscle to the shortest version of the muscle. And what we're doing when we stretch, we're trying to take the muscle to the maximum point of length, which is basically what we're doing when we do strength training. Same happen when we're trying to do Romanian deadlift, which is the one that we're gonna keep the hips up and we're gonna go down. So when you are coming up from that negative, when you go down, obviously still working on a stretch, but mainly, on a strength, but mainly at that point, you're just taking your hamstrings and your calves to the maximum lengthening point that they can get, and then doing a combination of getting to the lengthening phase to the contraction phase, is that we are actually stimulating the muscle grow and getting stronger. So it's very clear for us to have clear that strength training is not something that only athletes do, or that only powerlifters do, or people that we have stigmatized maybe because of social media, that you see people lifting super heavy and therefore you take for granted that strength training is that very crazy type of heavy lifting, when in reality strength training can be anything from literally just doing your body weight, some press ups, to get into that level of degree of lifting something super heavy if you are at that point in life and if that's what you focus in. But from what regards with strength training, as I explained already, so it covers the cardiovascular health, it promotes losing body fat, it promotes getting lean muscle, it helps with weight loss. Definitely my number one resource for weight loss, as well as obviously a controlled diet, increase bone density. And I actually have a personal experience with this. When I was younger, you know that I used to compete, and within these competitions I got injury. I got an injury on my hip flexors because of overtraining. Now, when I went to the physiotherapist to do all my physios and stuff, I used to be really, really skinny, but the physio who was treating me there, or the doctor who was treating me there, measured my bone density, and he was impressed how dense my bones are, although I was really petite, like literally, you know me, and I'm petite, but back then I was the half. So I was someone really, really skinny, but my bones were like solid like wood. And in my life, touch wood, I have never broken any of my bones. And I give a lot of credit to the fact that I have been into training since early days, because I have fallen from all the heights. I am very clumsy. I drop myself just walking. I have had all type of, imagine, like falls from bikes and different heights, and nothing ever has happened to me. So for bone density is definitely the number one activity to do. In fact, when females get into the menopause, we know that we lose obviously our hormones change, and we lose the ability to first either retain muscle mass or build new muscle mass, and second, to the bone density gets really affected. So for example, I will put my mother as an example. She has at the moment osteoporosis on the lower back, and that's due to never ever doing any type of strength training that is gonna compensate the fact that she sits down for 12 to 14 hours a day on the desk. And all she needs to do, and what I got her doing just recently, that I got more into the fitness and understanding how maybe we can implement literally 15 minutes. I got her doing 15 minutes on the elliptical machine, sorry, the Stairmaster, not Stairmaster, treadmill, and then 15 minutes of glute bridges and all glute related work. And her head pain has improved massively. And hopefully, obviously, we won't be able to regress the osteoporosis, but we will definitely be able to alleviate the problem and alleviate the pain and make the and stop the program from increasing or getting bigger. We also have cognitive functions connecting to the strength training, and that's because if you're doing it properly, we are meant to really connect our brain with our muscles, and having that deep level of connection is in some way a type of meditation. And it has been proven, and there is actually a book that explains that people that truly get into the meditation kind of zone develop a bigger part of their brain because of that awareness on how to manipulate or how to control their body, their feelings, and in some cases even breathing and autonomic functions from the body, just from the power or from knowing how to manage your brain. So from there come the cognitive functions. And also because, as you know, we are made to move, and every time we do any type of movement, like even if it's just a walk, a little mobility, like a little mobility flow, our mood straight away is improve. And that is also how it kind of is connected with the cognitive functions. So if our mood is better, our cognitive function, or the way that we perceive reality from the information that we're getting from outside, is just better. Reduce symptoms of many chronic conditions, including back pain, we know that, diabetics, arthritis, and heart diseases. Improve posture, balance, and stability. Nowadays, we know everyone is working on the desk all day, on the phones when they're on the desk, maybe reading a book on the tube. So we have now more and more and more people suffering from neck and back problems, and obviously that then shows up into this kind of posture when we have pronated shoulders, elongated neck, and then we have very, 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 very weak glutes, which then obviously will lead us to have a lot of pain again on the lower back, and problems with the posture. And why having problems with the posture is not just a matter of not looking good. Having problems with the posture might impair you from doing movements that you were taking for granted in the past, and such as, for example, overhead press. If you are someone who is highly kyphotic, so you are in this position and you're trying to do an overhead press, this is as much as your hands will get over. It's impossible to get you in this position just because of how your bone structure has moved. And I have had, now that I'm training my family, and they are obviously elderly, so my uncle is 62, so we had to do a lot of work on posture correction before we could actually get into doing any overhead training or any like proper strength training, just because he couldn't get in position for the movement to be performed properly. And so that meant that he ended up just performing the exercise with the wrong muscles, and then that would not be ideal, because then that will make the posture problems even bigger. So what we had to do in that point was to regress, fix his posture or do a lot of exercises with regards getting a better straighter back, at the same time doing the exercises that we could do around the movements in which his posture allowed him to do that. And rule number one, of course, doing a lot of glute work because his glutes strength were non-existent. And obviously, it increases strength training, increases energy levels, and improve overall mood and well-being. So far, does anyone have any question or anything that you want to add to?
No, not yet.
Not yet. Okay, perfect. So we're gonna move into the benefits of training at home. So all of you here and everyone who will be watching this on replay tomorrow are now experiencing the training at home. And what I will say, the benefits of training at home, or what I have found myself of the benefits of training at home, I will highlight the following ones. So obviously it takes time because it takes at least commute, even if it's walking, bike, or whatever. It might take anything from 10 minutes to half an hour. In my situation, it takes me half an hour's walk, which is I don't mind because I include that within my daily steps and kind of my warm up. But if you're someone who already say, because many people who are not used to train, they always have the excuse that is because they don't have time. So if you are someone who are used to say, I don't train because I don't have time, then this is one kind of way or approach that you can take to your training, all you need, as I was mentioning to a client earlier on, to get started with the strength program. All we need is 3 days a week minimum, that you give me 1 hour, and all I'm going to get you to do around those 3 days is to work on your needs, and that's all we need. So we only need 3 hours a week that you can spend working towards your own health and towards something that is going to help you to feel better about yourself, if the goal is to lose weight, and in this case it was. So we can definitely make it happen if that is at home. The situation will be different if you tell me, look, I am a busy mother, I am a busy business person as well. I truly don't have the time. It takes me half an hour to get to the gym, plus the time it takes me while I wait for the machines, plus the time it takes me to get to where I work. I definitely don't see this fitting into my life. Whilst now, with the new way that everyone is adapting from training from home, I'm not saying that everyone is going to stay training at home, but I have actually had experience with clients who used to go to the gym, and now for them it's more time efficient to just do the training at home, because you can just literally wake up, you don't need to change, and you just put your gym wear, you do your workout, and then you get ready to go to work or stay at home in the case that we are now. So then you can either save time, or to spend more time on a little bit longer session in which you can actually do some mobility, and maybe just having a proper cool down. Now, of course, it's going to be low cost effective first, because you're not going to be paying for the gym membership. It's not unknown that most of the big gym chains, they actually are based on a sales model that it takes for granted that you will pay for the gym membership, but you will not get back and use the gym. So there are, like, literally, from all the people who pay a gym membership, it's about 10% the actual people who really uses or get the most out of the membership. The rest of the people will pay a year in advance, and will not ever go back to the gym. And so that's why gyms, they oversell gym memberships even bigger than the amount of people that they can have at one given time at the gym, because they assume that people is not going to come back. So time is low cost because you don't need to pay for a gym. The most you will have to pay for would be for your equipment that you can get on a monthly basis. Instead of paying for the gym membership, you can be paying or buying a new equipment or a new piece of equipment every month, that is going to help you to maybe just add variation to your training. You can work out anytime, so there is no opening and closing time. It's really down to you, whatever fits best to your schedule and to your family schedule as well. You have a lot of privacy. We have a lot of girls that really push back into getting into strength training because of the fact that they feel intimidated to be in the gym floor around like boys lifting weights and making noise. So at home, you can just train. If you're feeling hot, you can just train with the shorts. You don't need to even worry about what you're wearing. No one is watching you. All you need to care is about get your workout going. So for someone who's really just wanting to get into training, into strength training, I think home training has a lot of benefits that we deny to kind of appreciate when we are so fixated in the fact that gym training is the only way. Any points of view to hear so far? No, so the silence, I will just go next. Ladies, by the way, I haven't updated this account. So if it goes off, we go back on. So then you get to do the Q's and A's. Okay, the presentation is about to finish, but the time is also about to finish. So I will reconnect again. Now, if you want to get started, you don't need much equipment, as I mentioned to you before. If you are completely new to training, all you need to get is maybe a resistance mat and yourself, an exercise mat and yourself. Then with the time, as I mentioned as well, you could invest on getting some dumbbells, some kettlebells, different kind of medicine balls, and different small gadgets that if you have someone who's programming for you, that person will be able to, in that case will be me, that person will be able to guide you to what is best to buy. And I'm also when I suggest what to get, I'm also very mindful of the products that I recommend being cost effective and good quality as well. So it has to be a balance between the quality not being too poor, but also not paying premium prices for something that you can get at a much lower price and get the same benefit out of it. And the last piece before of this presentation, before I go into the Q&As and I answer some Q&As that we have on the chat, is the bottom line is that for strength training, you only need anything from 30 to 45 minutes. And I'm saying this for people who is really busy. You girls who are more advanced, I know we do minimum 45 minutes, but if it's someone who's only wanted to get started, you need anything from 30 to 45 minutes, minimum 3 times a week. You can build muscle mass and accelerate your metabolism. In addition to that, you can strengthen your bones and joint, lower your risk of chronic disease, improve flexibility, posture, and balance, and boost your mood and energy levels. Many strength training exercises can be done in the comfort of the home, using just your body weight or basic low-cost equipment and resistance. If you have any health concerns or injuries that make exercises difficult, talk to your doctor or a certified personal trainer before you start at home strength training. Okay, so that was the presentation. I know it's very basic for the girls who are here on the call, but I wanted to make it very generic. So first, to empower people who are still thinking that home training cannot be efficient, and second, to just introduce new people to strength training and demystify the fact that strength training can only be done at home. Now, if we're gonna have, it's gonna cut down in 3 minutes. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna cut this version and I'm gonna start the call again. Okay, ladies? And we go through the Q's and A's.
Okay, see you in a minute.
Okay, see you in a minute. Thank you.